Hi, it's me. I promised you guys a video on putting up a top knot, so here I am, and this is Cricket. This is my precious little baby girl whom I adore dearly. Well, she's also known as the mouth of the South because her voice is probably 10 times bigger than her 3.5-pound self. But anyway, we're going to talk about top knots on drop coats, and I have a poodle that I'm going to pick up in a minute. Hopefully you can hear me better. It's a new microphone that somebody suggested I buy, and it turns out somebody I know had one, so we're going to try it and see what happens. I can't see anything you may comment, but I will get it after we're done. So anyway, I've already taken her bow out, which today she's wearing one of these, and it's bigger than she is too. One of the very first rules of putting up a top knot is get your rubber bands before you get started. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to put a top knot up and been literally stuck holding the hair like this while I walk around to get a rubber band, or I'm going, Billy, can you get me a rubber band, please? So anyway, we're going to try this and see what happens. She's incredibly cooperative, but you're not going to be able to see me and see what I'm doing because she's so little. So you're just going to see her and my hands, which are almost as big as she is if you actually look at that. Look at that. My hands are almost as big as she is. She's so little. I love my little Cricket. All right, I'm fixing to step out of the picture and get this done. All right, let's see. We're going to use, well, that's not the comb I want. Oh, it's over here. That's an Utsumi, but it's too big to do her. So anyway, one of the first things to do, and she keeps a visor too, but one of the first things to do when you're doing this is to make sure that she's combed out pretty good. She had a bath yesterday, and I just took her hair down a minute ago. And I was taught that the line goes from the corner of the eye to the corner of the ear, which would be that much hair there. But what I discovered earlier today is that when I leave a visor, I don't quite follow that line. I'm actually going from almost right in front of the eye, or right in the inside corner of the eye, to the ear. And I'll show you why in a minute. And you comb, and I'm using my Utsumi crescent comb. You can also use a rat tail comb to set your line, but I'm going to use this on her because she's so small. And again, I'm going to use the corner of it and go from the inside corner of the eye to the top of the ear. Comb all your hair away from that line so it's nice and crisp. Hold it in your hands. She's leaning her head down. A lot of them don't do that, but she's going to help me by holding her head down. Then I comb hair forward and then look at my line. And this line should be from the front of the ear straight across to the front of the ear over here. And you can always pull more hair in, take hair out. Doesn't necessarily have to be perfect, but I will tell you that you're going to be happier with it if you get the right lines. So there we go. And then I put it in my fingers like this, like you would a ponytail. Make sure I have all of it. Because she has a visor, I'm going to comb the visor out. Baby girl, you can sit down, you know. Thank you. And I tend, because she's going to keep this bow in, she doesn't take them out. She's incredible about that. I put my rubber band in first. Now, if the owner is good about keeping them in and taking them down, I'll put 3 or 4 twists in. If they're not good about it, I'm not going to worry about it so much. Then slide my comb underneath it, and you do that to make sure you don't have skin tucked in it. I do the same thing on ears. When I put ear bows in, I'll slide my comb underneath to make sure I didn't catch skin. So anyway, then I'll pull slightly that way. Now, if you'll notice, when I put her hair up, the rubber band is towards the back of that section of hair. One of the biggest mistakes I see people do is to put it here. And if you put it here, that bow is going to fall forward immediately. Put it towards the back. Now, I've already checked to make sure there's no hair under it, but I'm going to slide it back further. If you find that you've put it in up here, you can literally hold the back of the hair here like this and push the rubber band back, and it will usually adjust it. I'm going to pull it tight now that I know there's no skin in there. And then I hold here and pull that way. And that relaxes it without pulling it out of the hair or out of the rubber band. And it relaxes it so you're not pulling their eyes tight. Make sure it's in there well. I know, baby, I know. She says, I love my bows. And then I'll put my bow in on top of the rubber band. Now, I heard somebody yesterday on Grooming Smarter, or read somebody yesterday say they don't cut this unless they do it before they put it up. I do it after. There's a couple of reasons why I cut this after. Part of it is because every time I put it up, and I put hers up yesterday, I end up with different hair in it. So I cut it for that reason, but I also cut it this way because when you're done with it, it's going to fan. And it looks like that. She better be good. She's mine and she comes to work with me every day. She didn't used to be mine though. I got her from her old mommy, who decided after 9.5 years she couldn't keep her anymore. She's 11. I love this little girl. Anyway, when I'm cutting my visor, I'll cover that with you on this. Make sure my bow's in there right. One of the tricks to getting your bows to always be right side up, by the way, never use a bow that doesn't, or never use a bow that has a right side up. See, this one's a fan. So no matter which way I put it in, it's going to be right because the rubber band is on it correctly. I sell those, by the way. I have this kind, but the way the rubber band is on them, side to side, when you put it in, it's going to lay flat. And my all-time favorite kinds of bows are the round ones. It doesn't matter if they have a center or not, just the little round ones, because they're always right side up. They're never wrong. No matter what you do, they're always right. What are you doing? But anyway, when I do a visor, I comb down what I want to keep. And sometimes it's up in there, up in the tie-up. But I'll pull it down, and I start my visor over here. It's literally past the eye, because I don't want it to fall into the eye. Curved scissors backwards. These need sharpening. And then down. I treat the front of this just like it was a Westie head. So the visor gets done as if it was a Westie. And like you were doing the front part of a Westie head on a Yorkie. And I incorporate it down into the face part. You're crooked on your face, baby girl. We'll get that later. But anyway, when I'm doing my visor, like I said, it comes down on the sides like it was part of the Westie head. So that's how I do that top knot. Oh, I can cover her ears while we're here. When I do ears, especially on an itty bitty one, I don't shave a whole lot of the ear. This is not technically correct, but what I do for them, and this is my mini Figura, so this is how big she is. I mean, she is just itty bitty. I'll shave the inside and make sure that I come to a point. Do the same thing over here on this ear. Again, I make sure that I come to a point, and I always do the inside of the ear really tight. The outside of the ear, I almost never trim with a clipper. I just take and scissor it nice and pointy right there, and then blend up and in. Like that. It gives you the nice crisp ear here without it looking naked on the back. It's not technically correct. Technically on Yorkie ears and the like, you do, I was taught 1 finger or 1/4 of the ear inside and out, nice and crisp. It's not a look I like. Hi, everybody. It's just not a look I like. So I tend to leave more hair on the outside of the ear. If I do anything to it, I take a 10 blade to it. When I first got her, I couldn't do that because if I did that, she would have had blood everywhere. It just seeped out of the corners of her ears. I'm sure we've all seen Yorkies that do that. And she's not a Yorkie, granted, but we've all seen little dogs that do that. Usually the tips of their ears, there's not enough blood flow, and it can cause a problem. But anyway, that's how I do that on her. And that's nice and fanned, and it looks really cute. And if you'll notice, too, it's way back. I mean, it's literally sitting, the occiput is right here, and that bow is almost sitting on the occiput. So, let me put her down and take off the mic and go get Luke. Let's put you on the floor, babe. And let me go get your brother. Come here, buddy. Alright, I'm going to have to adjust that camera a little bit. I'll tell you what, instead of adjusting the camera, I'll adjust the table. That makes the most sense. There we go. Put this back on. I couldn't find one of these with a long enough cord, so I had to buy a cord to go with the one that I was given to use. Okay. I'm going to take out his current top knot situation. And he carries 2 rubber bands right now, because otherwise it's so long, you'll see in just a second, it's going to flop everywhere. Now this bow was just put in yesterday, so let's see if we can get it out without cutting it. Nope, not going to happen. I don't know if you saw what I did there, but I took my scissor just up in there and pulled. I didn't cut because you'll cut hair if you do that. But you slide it straight up with the hair and pull and it'll pop your rubber band. A little bit of spray because I don't ever brush a poodle's hair dry. And I have to brush this head right. I guess we'll try this again. Hopefully the other one saved because it went away and I don't know what the heck happened. But anyway, we're going to try this again with him. This is Luke. This is another old one of mine. This is an 11-year-old poodle. And he wears a tie-up. And what I do, and I just took out his rubber bands, and I use a pair of shears. That's where I was at when the video went away. If you go up following the direction of the hair and just pull, it will slice your rubber band and you won't cut the hair. So anyway, sorry for all of you who were watching the other one and it went away. That was not my intention. Now on him, I do go from the corner of the eye to the outer corner of the eye to the front part of the ear. And comb it out of the way and do the same thing over here. Outer corner of the eye, outer corner of the ear. And on him, I am going to use a rat tail comb because I want to make sure that it's right. This is my old poodle. He's 11 years old. Anyway, right to there. And then after you do that, it's trickier on poodle hair because there's so much of it, especially on him where he has so much hair. All right, he's going to lay down. We're going to raise the table up. There you go. Now you can see it again. And then through here is again the ear to the ear. And one of the tricks to doing this and doing it well and doing it quickly is very simply practice. And having 2 dogs who wear top knots, it's a lot easier. Or tie-ups, I guess, is technically the correct word. All right. And then I want to make sure that that line is straight as well. So I'm going to hold this between my fingers. And it's not straight right now. It's not at all. He's another one that's incredibly good about leaving a top knot or tie up in. If I put one in him, it might be a week later when he gets his next bath that it comes out. It's never matted and it's never a problem, but I'm going to show you why he doesn't mat up. Comb it straight up. Remember, I sprayed him with a little bit of Stasco spray to make sure that I didn't damage the coat. When we get that turned around, let's get you turned around. There we go. Rubber bands are ready. Remember that. That's important. And he gets 2. I'm going to show you how I do a 2 rubber band situation. I'm going to put it in. Remember, I pull it to the back just like I did on Cricket. You pull it all the way to the back to make sure that you don't have it falling forward in their eyes. One of the biggest reasons people don't leave bows in is because they fall into the eyes of the dog. They don't do that if you make sure that when you're setting it, you set it to the back to begin with. Comb under it. Move it up. Comb any hair that's not laying the way you want it. It's harder on him than it was on Cricket because he has more hair. But there we go. And then I go whatever looks good, which at the moment is going to be right about there, another ½ inch or so. And put another rubber band. And like I said, because he leaves it in so well, I don't mind at all putting them in really tight. One reason why he doesn't mat up there is because we do the 2. We put one at the bottom and then one part of the way up. He at one point actually wore 4. His top knot or tie up was so long he could wear 4. Then I'm not really sure what happened there, but oh, you have a growth. We have to be careful with that. That wasn't there 2 weeks ago. We'll watch that. Just a little black spot. I wanted to make sure it wasn't a flea. And it's not. It's a little mole. So anyway, we get that. And you need a bow since I cut your other one off. Let's put a black one back in. Look, I know he's a boy, but he doesn't know he's a boy. And he doesn't care if he wears a bow. So we're going to put a black bow in. I put my bow at the bottom. So on the bottom rubber band. Sometimes I put it in before I put the second one in, but not always. And there's that. And again, the trick is you use a bow that doesn't have a right side up to make sure that they are always right side up when you put them in. It's actually a pretty important part of that. I'm going to take my rat tail and pull any hair that's stuck up in the rubber band that I don't want in the rubber band. And again, I'm going to trim it while it's up. The reason, again, every time I do it, it looks different. I never managed to catch the same hair every time. I didn't when he was showing, and I don't now. But then you end up with a nice little fan, kind of like the Asian style fan. And because I want to drop this down now, I'll do that, and it'll move it down. And then right in front here on him, I'm going to take my rat tail comb, put it right in front of there, pull forward, and then pull back. And it's going to release it so that it lays better. Now, I'm not necessarily going to do much to him. I am going to trim right over his eyes. But I'm going to show you again, the lines on him are from the eye to the ear to ear, eye to ear, and of course, ear to ear. Does that make sense? I hope so. And I'm going to use a different pair of shears because that pair of shears really needs sharpening. Steven, they're going to come see you. And again, I use my curved shears backwards, right over the eyes, to cut them in. And then I'll go back with them around to get them fixed the way I want them. And because he needs a haircut, I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but I will get it right out of his eyes. He's having a little bit of trouble seeing as he's getting older. It's only started in the last couple of weeks that I'm starting to notice he's having a hard time. In fact, I bought him a set of stairs so he can get up on the love seat because he really can't get on the love seat. And that's really sad to me because it means he's getting old, and I didn't want him to get old. But He can be like every other dog at my house and be old. Now this is an Asian fusion face, so we do leave that hair there. But I'm going to comb it down right now. So, does anybody have any questions that I can answer right now? Because I can look at the camera right this second and see if I can answer anything. That was my mini figura. Thank you, Luke. Come back over here. There we go. All right, well, I'm going to go home then. And that's the way it is. If I have to redo Cricket's video because it disappears on Facebook, I can do that tomorrow because she's mine after all and she comes with me to work all the time. Actually, I might not be able to do it tomorrow because she might not come with me tomorrow because her previous mother is going to be here. And that's never a good thing. Cricket doesn't like her and Cricket runs away from her. What does that tell you? All right, baby. You ready? No? Well, I think we should go home. It's almost 6 o'clock. You ready? I don't know. We're going to go home anyway. All right. Thank you. Y'all have a good day. If you need any information, leave it here. I'll answer it as soon as I see it.